It is the distance between two people who still share a life but no longer share themselves emotionally. Emotional disconnect and silent gap in a relationship. When and why does it happen? Welcome to Confident Women Rising, Awaken, unheard. And today, I want to speak about something that many women feel but very few are able to talk about. There comes a point in some relationships where the house is still full. The responsibilities are still being handled. The routines are still happening, but emotionally, something feels empty. Two people still live together, still see each other every day, still call themselves husband and wife, partners or family, yet inside there is a silence growing between them that nobody talks about. And the painful part is, it usually does not happen overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, and almost invisibly. At first, the conversations simply becomes shorter. Did you eat? What are you coming home? Did you pay the bills? How was work? Sometimes not even that. The deep conversations disappear first. The laughter becomes rare. The excitements fade. The emotional check-in stops. And one person starts noticing. We don't talk like we used to, right? But life is busy, so they ignore it. Then comes emotional exhaustion. One person keeps trying to communicate, trying to explain their feelings, trying to express loneliness, trying to ask for time, attention, affection, reassurance. But instead of feeling heard, they feel dismissed. They are overthinking. They are asked, "Why are you overthinking? You complain too much. I'm tired. We'll talk later." And later never comes. So eventually, they stop talking about their feelings together because one partner feels there is no one who is listening to them. Not because they no longer care, but because constantly feeling unheard becomes emotionally draining. There is where the silent gap begins. It is the distance between two people who still share a life but no longer share themselves emotionally. The two people who share the bed together, but it feels like two lifeless bodies in bed lying. And the scary part about emotional disconnect is this. Most relationships do not break during a big fight. They break during the silence after too many unresolved hurts. The silence where nobody asks anymore, "Are you okay?" The silence where one person carries quietly and cries quietly at night while the other sleeps peacefully beside them, without knowing the pain the other person is going through. The silence where a woman starts emotionally grieving a relationship while still inside it. You can be physically present in a relationship and still feel completely alone. The loneliness that hits differently, especially when the person making you feel alone is the same person you once felt safest with. That over time, the small things begin changing. You stop waiting for their message. You stop sharing exciting news first. You stop dressing up, hoping they will notice. You stop expressing your pain because it always turns into an argument. You stop expecting comfort. Eventually, survival replaces connection. Now the relationship only runs on responsibilities. Children's bills, routines, appearances, obligations, friends. But emotionally, there is nothing left, nothing being nurtured. Sometimes the disconnect happens because one person became emotionally unavailable. Sometimes because pride became bigger than communication. Sometimes because outside people, friends, stress, work, ego, addictions, anger, or unresolved trauma slowly enters the relationship. And sometimes it happens because one person kept pouring love into the relationship, but the other slowly stopped valuing it. One person keeps trying to fix things, the other keeps avoiding the conversation. One keeps asking, "Is everything okay? What happened to us?" While the other says, "Everything is fine. I think our relationship is great." They don't notice anything, but deep down, nothing feels fine anymore. The hardest part in this, the person going through emotional disconnect often starts doubting themselves. Am I asking too much? Am I too emotional? Maybe I should just stay quiet. Maybe this is normal, but in relationships, no. Wanting emotional connection is not asking for too much. Wanting communication, affection, reassurance, respect, effort, and emotional safety is not weakness. It is human. A relationship cannot survive only on responsibilities. People need emotional presence too. They need to feel chosen, seen, heard, valued, loved consistently, not only when convenient. Because emotional neglect leaves invisible wounds, and sometimes the saddest relationships are not in the loud, toxic ones. Sometimes the saddest relationships are the quiet ones. The ones where two people stopped fighting because they stopped trying. The ones where silence becomes more common than connection. The ones where both people are emotionally starving but too distant, too hurt, or too prideful to say it out loud. But emotional disconnect does not only always